Hey guys, welcome back to my channel where I review horror books with a supernatural focus. In today's video, we are going to be reviewing The Road of Bones and Grady Hendrix's How to Sell a Haunted House, which I listened to on Audible. These two books have one thing in common for me, which was I didn't know what to expect. I wasn't sure what I was going to get, but for both of them, it really was completely out of left field in a way. I learned about The Road of Bones when I was doing my upcoming releases videos last year, and I just really liked the idea of this book, so I had to get it. And the Grady Hendrix book, I did a poll on my YouTube community tab, so I made a list of 4 really cool sounding horror books that were coming out in January, and there was a ton of votes. There was like, I don't know, 350 since I last looked. But the winner was the Grady Hendrix Haunted House book. So this was the book that you guys thought would be the best read out of the other 4. Before we get to these reviews, be sure to like and comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on these books and these reviews. And if you would like to get more videos from me, please subscribe. So first I'm going to tell you the setup of this book and just how it starts. So this story is about Teague, and Teague is one of these people who, you know, he always has like this new idea that's going to make him money or is going to be just a cool project to do or something. And he's always involving all of his friends to try and help him out, you know, so they give him money or they lend him money. He's always like, you know, working with film producers and TV executives and stuff to try and get these projects off the ground. So he's really good at networking and really good at getting people to, you know, believe in what he's doing and give him money. But this has made it very difficult for him because now he's in a place where he owes everybody. And he has this last project that can maybe get him back into the good graces of his friends, you know, pay back some people and get a really good project out there. So this project that he's come up with is to travel on the Road of Bones, which is actually called the Kolyma Highway in Siberia. And this highway has a very dark past. This is a long stretch of road that was built by Gulag prisoners where they worked and they died and were buried. So this whole entire documentary is going to be traveling the Road of Bones, but also they have a guide they're going to be meeting. He's going to be taking them, you know, to different towns, and they're going to be documenting stories. He's also looking for tales of people who've had paranormal experiences, along with the history of the road and stuff. So him and his friend Prentice, who is one of his last friends, you know, who are still remaining, he's kind of on this trip with Teague because he's trying to protect his investment because Teague owes him a lot of money and this project might bring money, but he's also there to support his friend. So they're in this road trip together, and they're learning very quickly that being in Siberia in the winter in this extreme cold is like being on another planet. It is so hostile. It is so difficult. It's so cold. You can't even turn off your car because if you do, the gas lines will freeze. So it's very dangerous, and people who live there have been able to evolve and acclimate to, you know, this environment. And this brings a lot of culture shock to Teague and Prentice. Prentice, who's from the UK, and Teague is from America. Eventually they meet up with their guide Caskill. He takes them to a village where some of his family members are, and this is where they're going to be staying, interviewing people and, you know, just kind of exploring this area, filming and whatnot. But once they arrive at this town, it's not even a town really, it's super, super small. Everyone is gone, not one living soul. All of the homes are empty. And it's at this point that, you know, they realize that something's wrong and things begin to go wrong very quickly, like really super quickly. This was great. I enjoyed this a lot, and I'm definitely going to pick up some more Christopher Golden stuff. Loved the writing style, loved the characters, and just it really went places that I was not even expecting in a million years. If you watched my reading vlog that I did. I read like 20 pages and I was like, oh, I'm so excited. You know, I can't wait to finish this. So that night, like I started reading it again and I finished it in a day and a half. Now, I wasn't really sure what kind of supernatural things were going to go on in this book, but it's a culmination of a bunch of things. And it's mainly a folk horror. And it was very surprising, and I liked the elements a lot. And there's also some supernatural elements as well that are in there. The writing is definitely evocative and it's very atmospheric. You will be so cold reading this book. It felt like the writer, you know, did their research, or they've been to places like this or something. And you really get this sense that it's like that alien landscape. It gets so cold, like nothing should exist here. There's no reason why anyone should be living here. So I talked a little bit about the culture clash, and that was very realistic to me. Like if you've ever traveled around anywhere outside of your own country, sometimes you might find yourself being like, oh, I can't believe you guys don't drink coffee or something, you know? And them being like, why would we drink coffee? We always drink tea. And then you being like really shocked. But then like eventually you learn that just because you like something from where you're from, it doesn't mean that everyone else is gonna like it, you know, or they even want it. I think that's just like something you learn from traveling. So it was really cool to see that in here. It really made it feel like an authentic, like a meeting of like two different cultures. So the takeaways from this book are like, it's a really good road trip book. It has it's folk horror. It has some supernatural elements. It has a very good friendship between these two male characters, Teague and Prentice. And then we also have some very interesting side characters that I think were my favorites, honestly. And like I said, I really liked the ending. I feel like the whole book was like kind of brutal. I feel like it had to be because of the landscape and the location of where they were. And I felt like the endings were consistent, I think, with that. There's a lot of things going on in the ending that are emotional, I think. There is this character who has this very powerful transformation. So I felt really envious of this character, actually, because it was just such a beautiful moment. And it even made me like tear up. It was really good, like really, really good. And I was actually really depressed after I got done reading it because I was like, well, what am I going to read now? So I'm giving this five stars, mainly because it surprised me. I binged it. I liked the main characters, and I just was fascinated with what was happening. And it made me feel something towards the end, which is always good. So how to sell your haunted house. So this story is about Louise and her brother. They're both adults. She has a young daughter, and they've both been informed that her parents have died in a car accident. So her and her brother meet up with the lawyer, and the lawyer's like, okay, here's the situation. You know, your brother has the house. Her brother is super excited. You know, he's like fist pumping the air, which is so inappropriate, but whatever. He's like super stoked. And she's just like, you know, he's not gonna handle this like an adult. He's just gonna destroy all of this because to her brother is just a child. You know, he can't do anything right. He quits on everything and blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of baggage between these two siblings and like between her and also her parents. There's a lot of baggage. They fight a lot, but eventually they come to a conclusion that they're going to, you know, go through the house together because there's a bunch of stuff there. And it's at this point that Louise begins to realize this is going to be too much for her to do. Like just emotionally, she's not going to be able to handle this because there's just too many weird things in the house. Like there's like all these dolls and puppets that her mom loved to make, and they weird her out to no end. Her and her brother are both getting weirded out, and eventually some weird things begin to happen. So that's like the setup. I really enjoyed the narrator. The narrator was awesome. So that kept me super captivated. So this one was a weird one for me. Like I said, I really enjoyed the performance, so that kind of kept me hooked in. And it wasn't that it wasn't interesting. I feel like the characters were written really, really well. Like it really felt like real brother and sister arguing. And I think it's because it was so mundane. You know, because like you argue with your family members or whatever about real mundane stuff, you know, but it was just a lot. You know, it was just a lot to be most of the book. So, I was wondering, where is this story going? It felt like this was going to be a family drama, and that maybe the whole haunted house thing was just like, oh, it's the house we grew up in, so there's a lot of memories here, so it's haunted for us. And I was like, that's really not what I signed up for. So I had to go check the synopsis again, but I was like, kind of hinting that there's something here. So I hung on, thanks to the narrator, but it took a really long time to get somewhere where something was happening. And the fact that the two main characters, Louise and her brother, it's not that they're unlikable. It's just, you're not rooting for one or the other. I liked the ending. I thought the ending was really weird and bizarre and just kind of cool. Like, I really do appreciate it so much when like authors go out there a little bit. So I really appreciate stuff like that. The ending is wild. One commenter on the community post, they said something like, towards the end of the book, it becomes like a cheesy 80s horror film, so buckle up for that. And it definitely has this quality. It's kind of cool because, like I said, there's all these like creepy dolls and puppets and things like that, and I love that kind of stuff. But, my problem was that I didn't find it terrifying. It was kind of more like funny. There's also another like element to this that didn't make sense to me, which was a dog, okay? It's a dog. And if you read the book, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't understand how that dog existed. I don't know if I missed something. Maybe you guys know. You can tell me. I don't know. I totally missed it maybe. But yeah, so I had a question about that. So I'm giving it a 3 out of 5, mostly because, the main characters, I don't know, I didn't really get emotionally invested in them. It takes a really long time to get where we're going. But once we got where we were going, it definitely picks up and it starts getting interesting. And the ending is pretty fun. So those were the 2 reviews. I hope that you enjoyed them. Please let me know if you know about the dog and how to sell a haunted house. Be sure to like and comment down below and subscribe if you'd like to get more videos from me. Other than that, please take care of yourselves. Look out for each other, and I'll talk to you next time.